Yeah, I saw. Everyone wants me to talk about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Turf Island's Turf Island. What do you want? J.K. Rowling celebrating. UK Supreme Court ruling. Trans women aren't women. Trans men aren't men, etc., etc. Non-binary people, they grope you and tell you what your gender is or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. The UK really is like a f***ed up place, man. It's crazy how, like, Keir Starmer is not being even remotely antagonistic to Trump, which is wild. It's crazy that, like, the British royal family has historically shown more backbone against Trump than the prime minister, you know? Remarkable. Like, it's every time I think like America might be the most dead country now, the UK finds a way to one up itself. It's like, imagine trailing at the knees, being the coattails of a country like the United States in the state we're in currently. Like, you're like less than a dog, man. What are you talking about? England somehow has the same amount of political apathy, if not more, than America. Oh, I think it's more in England, you know. Maybe there's more concentrated evil in America, but that that like that like rot. That's just what I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like an Anglo-Saxon thing. I don't know if it's like a British common law thing. I don't know if it's maybe, you know, I feel like I'm going to default back to an Aristotelian racial hierarchy where you have like thin-blooded people in the hotter climates who have spirit and passion, and then you have thick-blooded people in the colder climates who are like laggardly and thick-headed. And I think I might be like leaning in towards that. Because why the f is it that like what is it about the northern air that makes us like this, you know? It's not even that cold in America for the most part. Like, what's going on with that? I'm not even kidding. Like, why is it that French people and Italian people and even some German people, if you can believe it, why is it that they have passion? And then you look at the UK and it's like, what? I don't know. It's the lack of dietary culture. It might be that. It might legitimately be the food, like in part. Because I've eaten British food, and at no point after eating British food have I thought, like, I want to make the world better for other people. When I was in Barcelona and I had like a cappuccino and like a little pastry, afterwards I was a firebrand. I was a revolutionary. I'm not kidding. You have a little meal like that or something with a little sprig of mint or something, and afterwards you're like, yeah, you know, this is what life's about. We got to make it like this for everyone. We got to make it good for everyone. I've had, you know, British food, and after that I was just like, I'm going to bed. Good night, y'all. It's the Protestantism. There might be a correlation here. There might be a correlation here. Also, takeout is horrible in the UK. Yeah, I mean, despite the best efforts of like Middle Eastern people moving into the country, they just can't seem to save r slash casual UK. I can't believe I can still get this for £4 from my local chippy in this day and age. Yeah, I don't think anyone could eat this and then go like, I'm gonna improve the world for anyone. You know, this is not a food that inspires people. That's crazy. £4 is crazy though in this economy. That's a lot of food for £4. This is not a working class meal. That's true. The average British pensioner can only afford like 1/3 of the contents of this bin. And here are the polls of the parties in the UK. Let me guess. Keir Starmer has 4% approval rate. Yep. Yep. That's crazy. That's crazy. The Tories mismanaged the government for over a decade and burned out all of their goodwill. And it took like 5 days for the Labour Party to plummet back down. And now the most popular party is, well, based on current trends, Reform. Is Reform good or bad? They're Nazis. So it really depends on how you feel about Nazism. I'm not here to tell you how to think or feel. What the hell is wrong with Europeans? Dog. I agree, but like, look at America right now. This is not a time for us to be crowing right now. For also, they're not European anymore. They are to us, but not to them. Okay, the UK is dying. Keir Starmer sucks. Reform's victory is inevitable. Nazis will rule the island, and in all likelihood, they won't be able to get anything done because the thick-blooded Angloid Protestant is too bound by like rules and civility. It does kind of seem like Reform's like own version of brown shirt Nazism is basically rooted in like UK skinhead hooligan culture, isn't it? Like, I've seen what the reform voters look like. It's like older people are racist and want the Tories, and the younger racist British people are basically just 1980s skinheads all over again. You know? They're the guys who were being made fun of in the wall, the hammer troop, the Hammer Bros from Mario's in the wall from Pink Floyd. That was from the 70s, dipshit, not the 80s. So my bad. Pardon me for breaking a few eggs while synthesizing a political omelet, okay? You get the point. And while we're talking about the skinheads from the 70s, yeah, I do want to cop one of their Harrington jackets, okay? Because they were originally worn for golf, and I went mini golfing recently, and I would have liked a nice Harrington jacket, but I didn't have one, so instead I wore a cropped, like, Aztec blouson, which also looked good, but I would have liked the Harrington jacket. I'm sorry you had to suffer. Yeah. You like golf now, you capitalist pig? Mini golf is a sport of the people, and I refuse anyone who says otherwise is a fucking liar. Mini golf is a proletarian exercise. Shaded under the trees, nice, condensed space, can be done indoors or outdoors, but preferably outdoors on a nice day. It is the golf of the people. Doesn't take up all that space. Okay. Anyway, trans people. What can you say about them? Well, they like anime, or so I'm told. The UK Supreme Court has ruled the terms woman and sex refer to a biological woman and biological sex under the UK equality laws, bringing a long-running court battle between feminist groups and the government of Scotland to an end. Thank you, Al Jazeera. TERF groups are not feminist groups. All of these TERF groups have been arguing in line with the far right for like a decade now. Not feminist groups. Remember when when Roe v. Wade got revoked here in America and J.K. Rowling didn't talk about it for like 3 days? Like, J.K. Rowling will fucking tweet every time a trans person stubs their toe anywhere in the world. Revocation of Roe v. Wade, she didn't have shit to say. Has she ever talked about it? I think she eventually got pressured into talking about it, and she gave like a hemming and hawing non-statement. She was like, yeah, like, I don't know, it's like pretty bad, but not as bad as like when people with penises are in women's restrooms, basically, or something, type shit. I think that's exactly what she said, as a matter of fact. I also, I want to engage, since the world is ending anyway, and I want to indulge in my petty vices, I want to be sexist for a sec, if I can. I'm trying to find the video that I found of the women TERF group announcing their success with the Supreme Court ruling, where they look exactly the way you think they would look. You know? A second. I want to make fun. Where's that video? I thought I retweeted it. Nasty hag. Okay, hold on. That's sexist. It's also true, but like, hold on. Can somebody find that video? You know exactly what video I'm talking about. All right, one of you will find it. Meanwhile, liberals in Canada when it comes to LGBTQ+. Hell yeah, brother. A proud record of fighting together for 2S LGBTQI+. Where's the A? Where's the A? Oh, shit. Canadian liberals do not support asexuals or agender people. There should be 2 A's here. Yeah, I want the video version of this. I want to hear them speak. Where, like, again, they're literally all exactly what you would expect British TERFs to look like. You seen Rowling on a yacht smoking a cigar? Mm-hmm. Or she's trying to do her best, like, Andrew Tate impression. It's really funny that somebody who still self-identifies as a feminist would denigrate herself by celebrating a historic blow against women's rights by imitating low-rent male chauvinist influencers. Like this, like is that even a cigar? Tiny little cigar. Whatever. This is like a classic. Who was the Davis Arini, the guy H-Bomb made fun of? Cigarello, a feminine cigar. I think that's even honestly more lame, to be honest. Is this it? Never again will these women be terrorized by the knowledge that there's an incredibly small possibility that when they use the restroom, somebody else in there who is doing nothing to them has a different paragenitalia.
We were in a really...
I think the major thing that, like, strikes out to me, I guess, or the thing that, like, sticks out to me the most is the fact that you would never see this in the United States, right? A purported feminist political victory where everyone celebrating is over the age of 50. No young women here? Really? Not, like, Like none? Maybe there's some behind the camera or something, but that's pretty weird, right?
difficult place in Scotland then. We thought we were going to see rights for women rolled back, and today the judges have said what we always believed to be the case, that women are protected by their biological sex, that sex is real, and that women can now feel safe that services and spaces designated for women are for women, and we are enormously grateful to the Supreme Court for this ruling.
That's great. She's literally 12. I guess you can't really tell with British people, right? If sex is real, why this woman's never had it? Yeah, that's true. Weird Rowling's biological sex didn't protect her against her husband. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's almost like the way you protect women is by having like you assess like the threats they actually face and try to build a social network that protects, nurtures, and believes people. And what they've actually done is joined with a fascist hate rally to remove women's rights and denigrate people. And also, by the way, what this is all about is sending trans women to men's prison. Like, this is about sending people to be raped or killed. Like, that's what they're celebrating. Like, the actual legal pretext for this is about, like, providing trans women to men to death in Scottish prisons, essentially. So I don't believe the pretext about protecting women. I don't believe that. Also, you motherfuckers ooping me, but like, dude, none of these motherfuckers have been victimized by trans women. All I do day in and day out, I hear trans women predator, trans women predator. Where? This culture war shit's been going on for a decade, more than a decade now. Where the fuck is this? Where? How do you get to them? Like, how can we change this stupid shit? Like, these women in particular, I don't know. British TERF culture is crazy. It does seem like it's entirely made up of fascist collaborators and man-haters. And it's funny that they would get along considering those opposing virtues, but people, you know, hate makes for strange bedfellows. I've met so many married women who are TERFs, though. Are you under the impression that married women hate men less? Terrible news for you. A lot of married women are really unhappy, actually. Yeah, but I reject the premise that, like, there's any actual justification. Trans people are the most maligned. Like, we're pulling out our edgy cap today, okay? If you live in, like, Chicago or Detroit or something for long enough, eventually a black guy's gonna be mean to you. Sorry, just numbers. Not really a demographic or proportional thing. Just how math works over time. You get people who have, like, hateful pretexts. Yeah, like, okay, I'm not saying it's justified. I'm just saying, like, as a matter of, like, social abrasion, I can understand it happening as a consequence of just math and interactions. None of these motherfuckers have been hurt by trans people. None. Not one. Zero. It's totally fucking made up. It's a completely made up problem. It's the most fantastical, unjustified, like, out of pocket, no pretext. And the only reason this is being done, by the way, is because of, like, latent pent up psychosexual energy of the British people that they have to direct somewhere because they can't cope with the fact that they're a dying country, a dead empire, that does nothing. The only part of the United Kingdom that does anything is London's financial sector. The rest of it is the only hope that the rest of the entirety of the United Kingdom has. Their dream, their best case scenario is holding on to what's already dying or dead. No future, no hope. Until now, trans women with GRCs can be counted as women for the purpose of all women shortlists for political parties to fill quotas for women on boards within organizations. This will no longer be the case. Gender recognition panel. Fucking British. It's so crazy you have to get a gender certificate. Yeah, there's a reason they have the "do you have a license for that gender" meme. It's just such a bureaucratic sludge country. No fire, no heart. No beliefs. Nothing Vasha said is correct. The entire country is dead outside of London. Even our other big cities like Manchester and Birmingham crumble under minuscule pressure, and we have entire regions of England that are fallout-esque wastelands. It sounds like you're agreeing with me, not disagreeing with me. Did you mean to say nothing Vasha said is incorrect? I was getting ready to be... Okay, you were trying to say that. Okay, I was getting ready to be angry with you. It's a bad place to put a typo. I don't know, man. I'm just like, the more I see shit like this happen, the more I think that nations are sustained largely by, like, fervor, you know? Like, the most important thing for a nation is for people to believe. The only reason China hasn't grown because of Dengist economic policies. It's grown because Dengist economic policies have paved the way for growth that has made the Chinese people believe in the growth of China. You know, the more you believe in a country, the more you believe in anything, the more you can change and adapt as necessary. It sounds so ephemeral and anti-scientific, but the more I see this shit happen, the more I think it's true. Like, America grew enormously from the late 19th century onwards, in spite of people back then being generally like illiterate, racist, dumb, in large part because there was a prevailing narrative about the growth of the country, westward expansion, you know, manifest destiny. Bad for the natives, but our country did grow. It seems like belief is like the only thing that means anything, because America doesn't believe in anything anymore, right? Like, Americans no longer meaning, like, we don't really believe, and like now it's all over, right? Nobody's having children. Nobody thinks they're going to live past 40 or whatever. Everyone thinks the world is ending. Climate change, blah, blah, blah. Nobody thinks you can change anything in this country. So you just cope forever. Well, you can make things better. You just have to believe in it. The orcs were right. Yeah. Yeah, it's why the Dems don't do anything and Republicans do. Apathy kills everything it touches. Yeah, it seems like it. That's why neoliberalism has been such a uniquely damaging political force. It's because it's an ideology that essentially like robs a nation of its belief that things can be made better. You know, the only way anything can change is through like banal technocracy, and you have to trust that the financial guys are doing the right thing, and if they don't, there aren't really any consequences to it, and you know that's it, I guess. Diarrhea forever. What drives resentment-based politics? Well, I think resentment-based politics is kind of like the same thing, right? It's like the other side of the coin. Because if you don't believe in making society better, if you don't believe society can be made better, if you're totally disillusioned with the process of improving society, the only thing you have left is like petty personal gripes and spite. You know, like, I know this might sound crazy, and I don't want to be like, I don't know, I don't want to paint with a broad brush and say something that implies something I don't mean, but there were segregationists back in the 1950s and 60s and such who did believe in society. They were wrong, obviously, but they were wrong in a way that they thought was part of a constructive force. Obviously, segregation is wrong. But like nowadays, racists don't believe in making society better at all. Not even by like our definition, by theirs either. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be, if you were a racist politician, you might have like values and virtues about what direction you think society should be taken in, and also you were racist. Often the two overlapped heavily. But nowadays, every racist's position is essentially just like burn the world down, but make sure it hurts. Make sure the burns hurt the people we dislike the most. Does that make sense? Like, it's a totally different dynamic. They used to believe in racism as a tool, but now they believe in it as an outcome. I think that's a good way of putting it, yeah. I think that's a good way of putting it. Like, it used to be that a racist would say, well, they think that racism is justified because it leads to some other outcome. Like, there's some other thing they're trying to maximize for. Like, a lot of them were racist just as a matter of fact. You know, I'm not saying they were justified in it, but it was part of some kind of system or belief. Nowadays, like, the racism is the point. Buddy. I'm getting yapped at.